All right, Mary Lou, thank you for joining me today. Tane,
Hi,
the
Tane.
digital
Nice to be
realtor,
here.
EXP Realtor here. I got Mary Lou, one of my clients that I recently helped sell their home over in Hampton. Yeah, so thank you for joining me today, Mary Lou. Appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, so a couple of things I wanted to go over today. If you could, give me a idea about your experience previously, when buying or selling with agents. If there was any, as I know, you were working with an agent before you decided to hire me as a realtor. But aside from that experience, if you could give me an idea of how your past experience overall was with other agents.
Sure. Well, it wasn't all that good, frankly. We did try to sell the house that you helped us sell with another agent last year. And I don't know if it was market timing, we hadn't made some improvements, but we also didn't get, I didn't think, as good a service as we did with you, of course. We also had the opportunity to sell my father's home after my father's death just a year ago. And we had several agents. We went through several agents with that house. And we couldn't get people to, really be responsive. We couldn't get information about showings. We couldn't get information about what people were looking for us to do differently about the house. And so we really just got no information back from them. So it really wasn't all that positive.
Gotcha.
A very stark contrast with our experience with you, of course.
Gotcha. So one of the things you mentioned is the communication part. Agents not being responsive, not keeping you up to date. So my system that I have in place, every Friday, as you're aware, I give you a call of exactly what's going on with the property, and that's essentially how I do it a little differently from other agents. Did that make a difference with the selling process?
Yeah, it made a big difference. I didn't feel like we were in the dark. I mean, before we didn't know if there were showings. Unless we would call, really wouldn't get a lot of information.
Gotcha.
And I didn't really think that we should have to call every week to find out what was going on. And
Should be
you're
the
right,
opposite.
with you, every Friday, I knew I was going to hear from you, either a text or a call. And if I had any questions at all, I knew I could call. And you often called me more than just on Friday to tell me what was going on with showings. And we had multiple showings. And
Yeah.
so, at the end, we had multiple offers. And so it
Yeah.
just was a totally different experience.
Yeah. And one of the things that's a little different too with this one was you guys, try selling with that agent. I believe it was like 90 something days. I
Right.
know you guys did price drops, and initially you guys had it listed for what I recall, it was like 135.
Yeah.
And typically when homes don't sell, the number one factor is pricing. However, if you remember, when we first had it listed, we had so many showings in that home. It was like 30 plus showings, and all the feedback that I was getting was not
Right.
really in regards to pricing. And instead of us doing a price drop, what we discovered was that I'm pretty sure this was the situation that had, the issue the first time around when you were trying to sell, because when you're usually in the lower price end, you actually end up with more FHA buyers. And as you remember, we discovered that a lot of these people, the response I was getting was they started looking into purchasing the property. But as soon as they started looking to purchasing the property, since it was in a flood zone and it was FHA, they had to go through FEMA. And with FEMA, we discovered the insurance was $1,500 a year, which is a huge difference, especially if you're, first time home buyer and you're tight on funds, and that makes a huge difference. So I think that was one of the biggest factor when it came to actually this time around, because we ended up selling for 156,000, which is a lot more than the 135 you had it listed for. And I think that helped too, because we got, once we went to a different price bracket, we actually got different types of buyers. Even when we were at the low, the 145 range, it was completely different. We had a ton of FHA buyers that just could not qualify because of flood insurance. So I think that was a big factor that definitely helped with the actual process. So
yeah, it was a great strategy on your part.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And because again, most agents will try to get you to just do price drops, but realistically, at the end of the day, obviously, I'm going to tell you guys what's best to sell. And I think in that scenario, it wasn't a price factor, as we discovered. So it was definitely nice knowing that. And since you guys did expire, so I think this was back in February, March time. Now we're December. So when you guys did expire, I'm sure you probably got bombarded with tons of phone calls from realtors. So
we did.
Do you remember that?
I do.
So for those of you that are watching this, when you typically try to sell a home with an agent and it becomes an expired listing where, it pretty much breaches the contract that you guys had, 90 days, you're going to get bombarded by realtors calling you. And let me ask you, what set me apart from the other agents that called? Do you recall that at all? Because I know it was a little while ago.
Yeah, it was a little while ago. Actually, I remember I was away for a weekend trip with some friends, and I took the call. I'm not really sure why. Providence now, I think, perhaps. But, I think you presented a pretty good pitch, let's just say, enough to pique my curiosity. And so then when Marty and I met with you, you were very prepared and you had a lot of information about, the market comparisons for the home. So you'd clearly done your homework, and you just seemed to have a great plan in place. Again, we were a little skeptical, truthfully, of any realtor given the experience we'd had, but we needed someone to help. You seemed to be the right someone to help, and we were certainly right about that.
Awesome, awesome. And what made you guys decide to try out my services versus other realtors? Like, and was there
Well, I
anything
just
that set
think,
you apart?
well, I do think that, like I said, you had done your homework, and I think that you were reasonable in what you thought we could sell the house for, and willing to be a little flexible with that as well. Ultimately, we did sell the house for more than we talked about listing it initially.
Yeah.
And we had a number of issues, as as we went through the whole process. But initially, you just, I don't know, you just seemed to be prepared, and I like that in a person.
Awesome, awesome. And what would you say you liked and appreciate the most about working with me?
A number of things, but two, I guess I would highlight. One, again, the communication, just keeping us aware of what was going on. And I think the second thing, as you recall, I know there were many times when Marty and I couldn't get to the home when we needed to have the home open for not for showings. Of course, the MLS key helps with that, but we had workers who needed to go in and do some things for us, and you were able to, meet them there and without any hesitation. Your response was always no worries, and you made it happen. So for us, because some of the times we were a little challenged personally with schedules to get there, just your availability and willingness to help was just remarkable. Really a stark contrast to the other realtors that we've worked with.
That's awesome. I love hearing that, especially the hands-on part. Because one of the things I do take pride in is being able to give all my clients a plus service, regardless of what price point we're in, regardless of whatever the situation is, right? Like I'm pretty sure you're aware when we were working together, you guys weren't my only clients.
Of course.
But one of the things I like to make my clients feel as if they are my only one, right? So like, would you say that that's like how you felt, like the way?
Oh, absolutely. No matter when I texted you or called, I got a really quick response. Yes, we did feel like we were the only client. We knew we were not, but, and particularly you mentioned the price point. So particularly, I mean, I think we really got top shelf service, as though we had $1 million house as opposed to the $156,000 home we were trying to sell. So
Awesome.
we appreciate that very much.
Of course, Mary Lou. And what would you tell somebody that's considering possibly using my services, but they're very skeptical whether if they had a bad experience with the last realtor, or because I work with a lot of people that unfortunately can't sell the home on their own, right? That's one, and another is that failed to sell with another realtor and they just got a bad taste in their mouth of the actual services. What would you tell someone that's possibly on the fence about using my services, or even meeting with me in person, right?
Right. Well, I would tell them to give you a try, because they've got nothing to lose at all. In my mind, you really delivered for us. I'm sure you do that for all of your clients. And so, again, I don't know how many other realtors have people just, willing to say, hey, this is the right guy. But I can imagine you must have lots of people that say that, because I think you are the right guy to help.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Mary Lou. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on. Again, this means a ton to me. This definitely helps out other people that are possibly on the fence of using my services when they're looking up my name and whatnot, and they see everything that's going on, right? And I appreciate you guys, and again, trusting me with the sale of your home, because that's definitely something that's hard to give away essentially over to somebody to help out with. So
right.
Thank you so much, Mary Lou, and I wish you a happy holidays for you and your family.
Thanks. Same to you, Tane. Thanks for your help.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.